Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are reacting to Understanding Democratic Socialism. I get in the comments all the time a bunch of people who do not actually understand socialism and think that I'm just some kind of communist. We're going to see what actual socialism is. Now if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all of that jazz. I switched up my setup, so it's a little bit different. If I look over here, this is where my monitor is. So I'm not used to it like this. So thought I'd switch something up a bit. And what else was I going to say? I will be if there's a PragerU video on democratic socialism or socialism in general, I'll do a reaction to that too, because I feel like we need to look at all sides of a thing. This, I believe, from what I understand, this is non-biased. I've seen this video before. It's non-biased, but I will take a look at what the right think socialism is. So let's just get right into it. This is from Act TV, as you can see, probably. Yeah, you can see it. And let's just get right into it.
No term is misused in American politics more than the word socialism. Liberals use it to describe countries like Norway and Denmark.
I don't know nothing about Norway or Denmark, so that's never my argument.
While conservatives use it as a slur to criticize things like minimum wage increases and Medicare for all.
We need minimum wage increases and we need Medicare for all. These are not bad ideas, these are good ideas. And the fact that we ain't got that, it's ridiculous.
Fox News once even used it to criticize billionaire investor
Warren Buffett, net worth $89 billion plus. The wealthy are under tax. Stop coddling the super rich. We should raise taxes on the rich. More taxes for guys like me. Okay.
Warren Buffett when he publicly supported raising taxes on the very wealthy.
Warren Buffett wrote an op-ed. Is he completely a socialist?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. You just throw around the word because somebody thinks that the poor and the middle class workers deserve more money. We're the ones keeping this country running. If it wasn't for the middle class workers and the workers in general, this country wouldn't be running. This country wouldn't be still standing. We deserve a decent wage. With the rise of inflation, we need more money in our pockets at the end of the week. A minimum wage increase is nothing to scoff at. It's not unreasonable at all.
Is Warren Buffett a socialist? You really have no clue what socialism is, do you?
Unfortunately, most Americans have no clue what socialism is.
Yeah, it's just used as a dog whistle by Fox News, as you saw on this. It's just thrown around, used as a dog whistle, virtue signaling.
Either, and they definitely don't know how democratic socialism fits into the whole picture.
Democratic socialism is a totally different thing than full-on socialism. I am democratic socialist because I don't really believe in full socialism. Like Vosh, I believe he is just like a full socialist. But I'm democratic socialist. That falls in between capitalism and socialism, as you'll see later in this video.
Even though traditional definitions of socialism don't actually fit the current political narratives in the US, let's take a look at what.
Okay, these are the narratives. Same as communism, that's bull. It's in between capitalism and communism, though. It's a welfare state. I don't know nothing about that. It's a welfare, means free child care, means a dictatorship. No, that's why I don't support full-on socialism, because it's very simple to go from full-on socialism to authoritarianism, which a dictatorship. That's why I'm democratic socialist, because I feel like it's not as flawed as socialism is. It's paradise? No. It's just a better way for equality for the workers. It's tyranny? No. It's Obama's secret dream? Obama's not a freaking socialist. Obama's a liberal. Means nobody can be rich. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that the 1% is just their wealth is met more equal to the workers, the people that work really hard. Just because you don't have as much money as the richest people in this country doesn't mean you are not a hard worker.
Where these terms came from. Historically speaking, socialism was seen as somewhat of a halfway point between capitalism and communism. Under this spectrum, democratic socialism fits somewhere in between capitalism and socialism.
As I pointed out previously.
And the policies that Bernie Sanders and AOC are proposing, things like Medicare for all and free college, would fall somewhere between capitalism and democratic.
One of the freest countries in the modern free world is Costa Rica. They are a democratic socialist government. And that's my point.
Socialism, an area that analysts typically call social democracy. So what do all these terms mean? Capitalism is all about letting the free market generate unlimited profits for corporations and individuals. The downside of capitalism is that when it's unregulated, it leads to things like child labor, contaminated air and water, and the concentration of wealth.
This is one of my biggest criticisms of Republican Party, and I'll be right back. One of my biggest criticisms of the Republican Party is that the politicians in the Republican Party take money from big oil and they bribe them so they won't put regulations on stuff like on businesses. And when you don't regulate businesses, it leads to unclean drinking water, basically what he's saying. So that is one of my biggest criticisms of Republican politicians.
Wealth in the hands of very few. Communism is about creating a classless society with absolute equality, where the government dictates the price, supply, and distribution of goods.
Yeah, I most certainly do not support communism. I'm very much against communism because that's just authoritarianism and totalitarianism, whatever you call it, whatever. Let's continue.
The downside of communism is that the only practical way to redistribute wealth with absolute equality is by force. So these governments usually end up becoming authoritarian regimes. Socialism arose as an attempt to merge the best parts of capitalism with the best parts of communism. The traditional definition of socialism basically says that there should be some free market systems to determine supply and demand of products, but that the government should own the country's major industries so that the people can benefit from most of the wealth. The downside to socialism is that it's very vulnerable to corruption. If the people...
Yeah, like I was saying, that is why I am not a full-on socialist.
Running the traditional socialist system are corrupt, then these types of socialist governments will also skew towards authoritarianism. So what about democratic socialism? Democratic socialists still believe in social ownership of major industries, either through the government or through worker alliances, but they reject two main aspects of traditional socialism. One, they sharply reject any type of undemocratic or authoritarian system. And two, they reject the Soviet-style planned economies, where the government determined the price and supply of goods. There's a lot of debate about what exactly democratic socialism.
Okay, resolution versus reform. I am for reform. I'm not for revolution. I'm very much against violence. I'm very much against violent protests or riots, if you will. Seizing the means of production. Democratic management of resources. Democracy is an important aspect in a free country. Decentralized, socially owned economy. I'm for decentralization as well.
Entails, but in essence, democratic socialists believe that workers should enjoy a larger share of the profits that they are helping to generate. They also believe that
yeah, I believe that because the working class are the ones that are doing all this. We hardly get paid while the rich CEOs just sit on a fat wad of cash. It's not fair. Oh man, I sound like oh my. That I shouldn't have said it's not fair.
Strong social safety nets are essential for the stability and long-term growth of society. It's interesting to note that America's most famous self-described democratic socialist, Bernie Sanders, is opposed to the idea that the government should own the country's major industries, which in economic terms are called the means of production.
So the next time that you hear me attacked as a socialist, remember this. I don't believe government should take over, the grocery store down the street or own the means of production. But I do believe that the middle class and the working families of this country who produce the wealth of this country deserve a decent standard of living and that their incomes should go up, not down.
I don't see how this is unreasonable, and I do not see how you could think this is corruption. If you want to say that Bernie Sanders is corrupt, you're going to have to give me undeniable proof, not just some article from Fox News trying to denounce anyone that isn't a right-wing Republican conservative.
Looking at the policies that Bernie Sanders is proposing, things like
increase minimum wage, not unreasonable. Medicare for all, not unreasonable. Free college, not unreasonable. Making sure that everybody has a chance of success.
Increasing minimum wage, Medicare for all, and free college education,
and I'm talking loud because there was some people had a problem, said they couldn't hear me, so I want to talk a bit louder. I'm not trying to be mean.
Analysts agree that this idea fall in line with the successful policies of the Nordic countries, where they call themselves social democracies. Social democracies are basically capitalist systems with really strong social safety nets. So what can you do? It's important to look at the actual policies that each candidate
internet freedom, free market, socialism, right to work, religious liberty, citizens united
that is proposing, and not just the.
And by the way, you can call me a liberal or whatever, but I still support religious freedom. I mean, no one's really said anything about that, but just in case you thought I was some guy who thinks Christianity should be banned. No, I don't.
The words they're throwing around. For example, just because North Korea calls itself a democratic republic and the rapper Dr. Dre calls himself a doctor does not mean that North Korea is anything close to a democracy, nor should you seek medical advice from Dr. Dre. Also, let's remember that most countries in the world have mixed economies, and none of them fit neatly into one economic model. The word socialism has basically lost all practical meaning in political discourse, so it's ultimately up to us to determine what it means based on who is using it and the policies that they are supporting. Peace.
Alright, so since this video, I hope you all have a better understanding of what democratic socialism actually is, and socialism in itself. I will be doing a reaction to PragerU's version if they've got one in a later video. But thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me what you thought about the video. Tell me if it changed your mind or anything. Even if it didn't, don't expect you to believe the way I do. Everyone's got their own opinion, and I support your opinion. But thank you guys so much for watching. And also, I do want to make a point. Just because I'm a democratic socialist does not mean I'm a communist. Just like a conservative is not a Nazi. See you guys in the next one. Try not to kill each other, and peace.